Hello everybody! The goal of this course is to reach a perspective of the work inspections we should run in a construction process in order to get the quality in building. That's the summary of the course, but today's topic is going to be focused in the retaining walls as a part of the reinforced concrete structures. I would like to show you the main activities we should check during the construction of this unit. Remember the diamond circle that will help to us to get this scope. Plan, do, check, act. Start from the project management, just follow the activities during the work construction and check all these units. In case of any failure or not conformity, just make the report. In the project details, we will find all the specifications for this construction. We should open mind and just think about the retaining walls. There is a lot of kind of this. So we can have one phase retaining wall, two phases retaining walls, some retaining walls who are going to be building up from the bottom to the top, and some cases we are going to combine the excavation with the retaining walls because we have to do the retaining walls from the top as a ring and going to the bottom. We'll see in some pictures. During the materials reception, we should also check the specifications who are mandatory from the CE mark or from the new directive from the construction products. Please mind also the position of our storage because in some cases it has to be protected about the humidity and about any aggressiveness of our materials. In the preparatory activities, we should think about the characteristics of our work site. In this case, in this picture, we can see here in this side how the excavation is gonna be done. The digging machine is excavating all the land and it is putting on the track, and the subsoil is going outside. We can do it completely in the same unit because this subsoil is resistant enough, is self-sufficient and led to us to run the unit continuously. But in the right side, there is the opposite situation. In this case, we have a road or a pedestrian area and the loads are affecting our area. So our work site cannot be completely excavated. We have to divide it by units and make it by pieces. So if we think about that, we should keep a pieces of land that are keeping the pressure of the load at the time we are building up the pieces of the retaining walls. The process is something like to keep one on and one off. You keep the land who is keeping the pressure of the load, of the soil load, at the time you make a hole excavation, right? So this hole is just a kind of compensation. You can make the excavation and just replace it for a part of your retaining wall. Excavate and replace, excavate and replace. So finally, the continuity of the load is completely stable and is completely safe and is well down. During the preparatory also, we will make the choke in the surface where the retaining wall is going to be placed, and we should check about the bolt anchors and the length, position, rusty, diameter, and so on. In the preparatory also, we should check about what kind of retaining wall we are going to do, because after that we need to think about the reinforcement. In the reinforcement, if we are going to make it from bottom to top, it will be completely directly from the anchor bolts to the new casing. But in this case, we are looking at the specific activity we make done. Just put on a plastic and fix the reverse directly to the subsoil. Why? Because we are going to build the part of this ring level of our retaining walls, and then after doing that, we will make the excavation of the inside or underground level. The reinforcement, in case we are fixing up from the bottom to top, is very easy. Just the anchor bolts are waiting and we should tie, show with the new rebars, with the new net, with the new reinforcement, and fix it up in the right position. Just plumb it and take care about if everything is as the project is asking to us. In this picture also we are making the reinforcement, but here the rebars are positioned directly in one face because in the external face we have the land. So once more, mind about the diameter, position, disposition, the tie, all the the anchors you are going to fix, or how are you going to show the bars and the rebars, and of course if there is any kind of rusty or any damage in our rebars. When the reinforcement is done, it's the time to start with the formwork. The formwork will fix and we will keep our shape, our final shape. So it's very relevant to check it and check the plumb of the formworks. These steel formworks are completely straight and are fixed or fastened between both by these strip areas, right? So these strings are is a kind of sword, a kind of pins that will fix our both formworks. During the formwork, we should fix it very strongly, and we need to be sure that the shape is going to keep continuously in a plumb straight position, because during the pouring, when we will pour in the concrete, it will be a pressure and movement, and if it is not well fixed, probably we will have irregularities in the final surface. This is the props who are fixing up the formworks and are fixed to our horizontal element. If everything is done, everything is ready, now it's time to pour in the concrete. But there is one difference, once more a difference between the pouring in elements who are built from down to top than the area who is built from top to down. In this picture we can see the first ring of our retaining wall. It is completely finished, and we can see here all the anchor bolts who were fixed into the land before to start with excavation. Then we can do the excavation of this unit, only this part, keeping this part of the soil to support the load of the earth, right? Then it's time to put on the reinforcement, all the rebars, fix it, tie it, and then fix the formwork. In the formwork you will see there is a distance, there is a kind of line, there is a big longitudinal hole where the concrete is going to be fixed. We need this area to pump all the concrete, to pour in the concrete inside, because if not we have no place to fill it up. Remember, the first is done and now we are doing the second line, right? After to pour in this area will be useful for to connect the future floor or the future slab who will be in the intermediate levels. When we are pouring the concrete, but we are in a vertical element who is building up from the bottom to the top, is very easy. You can use directly a trimmy and just pour in the concrete inside. Taking care about the joints is another activity we should check during the process. So as much as regular is the surface, it should be better. Also, if necessary, just use a waterproof system that will help you to keep it in a very dry solution in the future, in the life of the building. The joints could be with this waterproof sheet. In the case you are in the correspondence with a dilatant joint, you have to use this special PVC sheet who has the diameter in the middle, and of course the joint can be used in vertical or in horizontal. In this picture also you can see the waterproof sheet which is done in the vertical unit of the retaining wall, but here in the foundation you can see a very bad joint because it's too dry and it's going to be very difficult to match the old concrete with the new concrete. When everything is finished, is concrete, and the time minimum who is mandatory depending on the weather condition is ready, we can stripe the formworks. During the striping we have to be careful with the position, and we have to be careful to don't damage the concrete surface, and just remove and just take out, strip the formwork and take it out to keep the surface of our retaining wall, including all the sprit and all the pins we use it to fasten the both forms. And when everything is finished, and depending on the characteristics of your retaining wall, it's time to waterproof. If you have two faces and you have place in the outside face of the retaining wall, please make the waterproofing. If not, you can use another system. In this case, you can see the primer prim in the surface with the bituminous area, and then you can use a waterproof sheet with the drainage system. In case of necessary, please fix all the insulation materials, and all the sheets are mandatory in the project. Now it's time to continue with the other units. You can see the piece of the land and the unit of the retaining wall. And here is a full perspective of our work construction, who is made it by pieces, as the project management were planning for us. When it's finished, the last ring, we have the time to start with the excavation. Here in this picture you can see a very beautiful detail of the anchors who were the anchor bolt fixed in the land, and how the digging machine is taking out the final land. Everything will be out. Our line, the first ring and the second ring, is made by pieces. Time for the foundation and all the final excavation. Our building should be empty, should be finished, and now in the final check we should take a look about if all the line where the pouring was made is well situated for the future slab, for the future floor, if everything, all the building services are fixed, and if there is no any damage about the covering of our reinforcement.